Peace and love.
Greetings, and welcome to Compost and Causations with AkhmostistTheCompostist. Welcome, everybody. Let me check my sound. A little echoey, but it will work. So, welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday. The sun is shining. I got my hat on. I got my hair out, and we're here. Compost behind me. Compost in front of me. Yeah, so we're here. You all like my backdrop? Yeah. The compost we come, from the compost we shall return. You like that? You like that. All right, so welcome to Compost and Causations. Once again, I'm AkhmostistTheCompostist, a longtime composter, going back some years, 2018. So we're going on 5 years. The Jehovah's Witnesses are out today, if I'm correct. So we're going on 5 years, and the work continues. Now, I'm not presently out in the field on site as I used to be, or working for an organization or entity in a structured manner as it pertains to composting. That's not the case. It's more of a day in, evening out lived experience as a composter, and being aware of my impact and my imprint, and teaching others as they cross my path, and making sure that I continue to compost and help others compost in my day-to-day life. I'm no longer leading my food scrap hauling business. What I'm doing right now is I'm expanding my brand, but I'm expanding what it is I do as a composter. And so I'm in the process of creating the world's first composting video game, which is unique, amazing, awesome, arduous, but it's a new frontier. And I welcome and I invite you to share any bit of information or resources or connection that you have to further along that application of creating the compost video game. So that's that. And this is this. We're here today to do a watch along. We're going to do a watch along of a video that's on my other channel entitled The Compliment King. And I'm in the process of compost, directly compost related from that channel, and putting it on this channel. In the meantime, we're going to watch another video that is on that channel, but that applies to composting, and it's me on site probably about 3.5 years ago, I want to say, because this is 2023, so that would have been, at least 3 years ago, 3.5 years maximum. So I did a video a week ago, or a strong ago, a Saturday ago. That was a watch along, and this is the second one. I think I have one more to go after this. And I apologize for not doing a broadcast yesterday, which I usually do on Saturdays. But life happens, and so you got to roll and rock with it. And once again, happy Black Future Month. And to those who are having a birthday or you're learning something new, congratulations to you and happy birthday anniversary to you. So 'tis the season to not only spread joy, spread knowledge, applicable knowledge, but also, be in love. Speaking of which, there's a special holiday that's coming up. So wishfully you and your loved ones are indulging in the love as best you can. So that's that. That's the plan. With your loved ones. So yeah. All right. Just checking my sounds as we go along. So now we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into it, into the watch along. And there we go. Boom. So this video is entitled Why I Love My Work as a Composter. And you can see, let's like that. Boom. I'm subscribed to the channel. Doesn't have that many views, which is ridiculous. Changes liked it. So let's like that. Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. And yeah, so when you come to the Compliment King channel, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. And as I say that, let me do this because the broadcast has already begun. And if you're interested in helping or supporting it a different way, there's some information coming your way. Okay, so that's that. Yes, composting is a curious matter. So let's begin the chatter. All right, all right, all right. And most importantly, here we go. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, click that notification bell, people. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Fair use, fair use. Well, this is my video and my channel, so it's all good. But here we go.
Peace and love. This is AkhmostistTheCompostist, aka AkhmostistTheCompostist. And I love composting and I love doing this work. The reason why I love doing this work varies. Just to give you a little bit about a little history or my story, I got into sustainability, renewable energy, just being conscious of the environment and the planet and different systems on it that function to keep it functioning optimally. I remember being a little kid, probably 3, 4, 5 years old, and my parents had these large glass jars of water in our basement, all along the basement wall, with like these tall, like 2-gallon uh, jars, glass jars filled with water. The jars used to be filled with pickles. And one day I asked my parents, like, why are we storing all this water in the basement?
Now, this is going back, we're talking, at this point, we're talking mid 80s. So, yeah, there used to be those huge pickle jars that were in the store that my parents would get. And yeah, the world was a bit different back then. So we're talking me being 4 or 5, years mature and asking these questions to my parents.
And I'm paraphrasing. I recall like my father or my mother at some point saying, in case we turn on the faucet and water doesn't come out, we have water so that you and your sisters and brothers and us as parents and our family can have water to drink, to cook with, to bathe ourselves and use for various things that we use water to keep our life intact. Water is sacred, and water is something that we use every single day. It's also functional. So I was like, and it was just like, should we turn that water on and the water's contaminated, we got some fresh water so that we can still take care of our family with. And it was like, wow, that planted the seed in my psyche of just being self-reliant, being conscious of your surroundings and the planet that we're on, and being in tune with the elements and how to access them, where they are, um, you know, where, how can we grow our own food? How can we find fresh water? How to make our own clothing? Do we know how to build a shelter? Like, how can we be self-reliant, self-sufficient? Some may even call it, preparedness skills, or disaster skills, things of that sort. Whatever the case may be, it was like, that definitely resonates with me, and it makes sense, So, and my father and mother, but specifically my father, were, he is.
So these were the beginnings of me starting to get very interested in becoming a prepper. These were the beginnings right here.
Is, even to this day, a champion of picking up a trade, a skill set, and having something where nobody can take it away from you, and you can always find work and have that skill set to, be it carpentry, electronics, welding, masonry, designing, making your own clothes, things of that sort. So that planted the seed. So then, as a grown person, I would begin to volunteer at different composting sites, different urban farms, trying to pick up different skill sets when and where I could, specifically as it pertains to agriculture, and just picking up skills here and there with no direct intention to do something with them specifically, other than at some point in my life, long term, I'm going to be able to access and utilize these skills for the betterment of the life that I want to create and that I want to have for myself and my family, the family that I'm from, for my family that I'm going to create. So,
Y'all see how short my hair was back then? Or how much shorter it was? So this is, 3 years later. And I think at that point, this is early 2020, late 2019. I had already had it for about 3.5 years, maximum 4. So yeah, this is what you're seeing right now is about 6.5 years worth of hair that has grown. This is super important, and it's very interesting to observe about 6.5. Observe myself speaking about my story, my life story of how I got into composting, and not just composting, but I'm giving some background about how I got interested in what I call survival, the art of surviving, but also learning how to thrive. But these preparedness skills, disaster preparedness skills, a prepper, survivalist, these were how these seeds got planted. And over time, they just grew and they sprouted. And I would water them by things that I was interested in. And, as a grown person, I'm now getting into how I begin to further water it. But at this point, begin to pick the fruit and taste it as it pertains to survival, by me, going on, getting certified in wilderness first aid as a grown person, becoming an outdoor leader and instructor, with me reading books and, attempting to get further training, to volunteering at composting sites all over New York, even in Atlanta, in New Jersey, and just trying to get the information when and where I could, and then begin to apply it and see how it shows up. Now, this is me, as a hired professional, and so I'm already delighting in the fruits of that labor. So you're hearing about how and when the seeds were planted, and now you're bear witnessing to me actually delighting in the fruits of the tree that was once a seed, by me being on the composting site, having completed a day of great work, and being hired by a prominent organization. And I'm just sharing my journey from start to where I was at that time. So, yeah, interesting stuff, I must say.
Oh, just started volunteering, and then maybe like 3-4 years ago, I began to get formal training in the field as it pertains to permaculture, urban agriculture, urban farming, things of that sort. And then I applied for formal work in the field about 2 years ago. And a few months later, I got a position with an organization doing, composting, gardening, education work in New York City, the five boroughs as well. And that position led me to this position in composting directly, not just picking up.
My apologies for all the moving around camera wise. I think my intent was to walk about the site to, just release, come down or ground from the intensity of the day, but also to show you as the viewer the entire site. And so you're seeing behind me right here is the sifting tunnel where we keep some supplies. We keep the sifting tables on a sunny day, not sunny day. Sometimes if volunteers couldn't take the intensity of the heat and the sun beaming down on them, or if it was a super rainy day or a super windy day, and it was a volunteer day, we'd take people into the tunnel and have them do some work in there. They can sift, they can turn the finished composting piles and move them forward, and at that point, those in the tunnel have been cured appropriately and they're ready to be dug into and be given away as sifted or unsifted compost. And so that's what's behind me. The wheelbarrows are in there, the buckets, the sifting tables, so on and so forth. So very important. I'm giving you a tour of the site without directly giving you a tour of the site. You're just seeing it in the background behind me in real time. Speaking about behind me, what's behind me as a background picture, that is a former client's composting bag that fell out my hand or fell out the truck onto the pavement as I was doing my food scrap hauling business a few years ago. And the larger picture that's behind me is a picture that I took just outside of the composting site, the redhook composting site, of a mushroom that had grown. Now, I don't know which kind of mushroom this is because I'm not a specialist in that way. And mushrooms, that world is a whole interesting, tricky world. So that's what the two pictures are behind me. So wishfully you like it. I love it. It's perfect. So continuing onward. All right.
Up the material and dropping it off, and not just standing on corners collecting the material, but actually processing the material. So I'm here now, and I get to meet people from all over the world, all over the country, all age ranges, literally from 5 years old to people in their 80s, who come to this site and they're doing this work. People come here because they want to get a workout, because it is physically laborious and challenging work. People come here because it's a form of therapy for them. People come here because they want to connect with the earth. They want to connect with the soil. People come because they want to learn specifically about agriculture and composting. People come because they want to just get some fresh air and get outdoors and be in the sunlight, be around the trees and get some fresh air.
Breathing that good ass prana, baby.
Because they want to be social with other volunteers and staff members and things of that sort. Whatever the case may be, we literally meet people from all around the world who just come all year round, all kinds of weather conditions, patterns, all kinds of all 4 seasons. They come continuously. be it 2 volunteers, be it 20 volunteers, or be it 50 volunteers. They come. And the conversations that we have, the camaraderie that we share, the work that we do in diverting food scraps from landfills and cutting down on methane gas being released in the atmosphere. Um, and, just cleaning up our neighborhoods. A huge reason as to why the rats and the mice and the raccoons and the roaches are around our homes, going into our garbage cans, and in our homes is because they're trying to live. They're trying to sustain their existence just like we are, you know. And they know that there's food in these garbage bags. There's food in these trash cans. So if we can divert some of that material or all of those food scraps from our garbage cans, by way of a brown bin or taking it to a food scrap drop off, site, a green market that might be composting or have access to composting, that's doing the work. Coming down and
That's doing the work, people. It's not complicated, you know. For some people, it's a bit more simple than others, but it's possible and doable for all. Do what you can do, whether you have a home composting setup, a garden composting setup, a yard composting setup, or if it's a community garden or composting site setup. Maybe you live next to an industrial composting site. Whatever it is, we all can do our part to divert food waste from going into the landfill for reasons that we're learning about here and for other reasons that we know. So it's very important, and getting back into the conversations that we used to have on site with the volunteers and just us as staff, we literally talked about almost everything, amongst the volunteers, us as staff, we had to watch certain topics and couldn't just play any kinds of music, or there had to be a certain level of decorum and professionalism, and curating the experience that you have to always keep in mind as the host and as the professional staff. But when the volunteers are not there, we can be a bit more free as a staff of 2 or used to be 3, to just really delve deep into life and life topic matters, and not only learn each other but explore. And amongst the volunteers that applied as well. And then when you have returning volunteers who come every single, Friday and Saturday for, year after year, month after month, then you can kind of like let your hair down a little bit more, and really like dig deep. And you really get to establish friendships and, for some people, partnerships. And, so many things came out of that. Some people probably went on to date. Who knows? So many things came out of those interactions with volunteers on the site. So volunteering is a very, very unique, special thing, because it's like you're out in the world doing something that you usually don't do in a field that you don't specialize in, and you're not getting paid for it. And so you're utilizing your body, your mind, your spirit, and you're working. But our brains, for the most part, in this modern world are trained that if you work, you should get compensated and be paid justly for it, which makes sense. However, it's something about doing something out of the goodness of one's heart or spirit and learning something new to help another or to help others. And so to volunteer is something sacred, to make time to volunteer is sacred. And then to put on the proper attire and hop in your car, hop on the bus, hop on the train, hop on a bicycle, or just walk, and then do hours of work and then go back to where you came from, like that. For some people, that can be quite a bit, depending upon their schedule and their lifestyle. And so for people to do that every single, Friday or Saturday or consistently, that means a lot. And that's literally what keeps sites alive and keeps sites going, not just the morale that it builds up amongst the staff to keep on going and keep on doing the work, but functionally you need more volunteers to turn, hundreds of thousands of pounds of, composting on the site, which is what Red Hook was doing, a year, over, I think it was like over 125, over 150 tons of composting a year we were maneuvering through and processing. With 2-3 people as a staff, that's impossible to do. You need volunteers. And so we were getting it from all walks of life. I'm probably going to get into that, into this video a bit further, but I'm giving a further shout out to the volunteers for the great work that they did with us as staff, and in changing the world, bettering it. So it's truly phenomenal and truly great work. So I'm super thankful for them. So that's my soapbox moment. Let's get back into it.
Volunteering at a composting site, that's doing the work, but if we and a benefit of that is that if we can divert that food waste or food scraps from our garbage, then there'll be less pests or rodents in and around our homes. Thus, our homes would be much more enjoyable, safer, cleaner.
Now, you see, I did the air quotes when I mentioned pests because, rodents, rats, macroorganisms, raccoons, cats, these are entitled pests because they're a pest to a lot of humans who are living in a certain environment in the modern world. Yet and still, they're animals and creatures just trying to exist just like us and feed themselves, house themselves, and procreate, and so on and so forth. However, their way of being may not match, excuse me, with our way of being as best as we would like it. So I'm kind of hesitant, or I always want to pause or feel some kind of way when we call them pests. It's like we're labeling them as being a problem when inherently they aren't a problem. We've kind of imposed our will and changed the environment as humans on them. So specifically as men, which is in our nature. So we're doing something that's natural to us. A conversation for another day. Let's continue onward and bring things to a close. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell.
Less disease, so on and so forth. So the overall ambience and aesthetic and quality and energy of the neighborhood, of our homes, instantaneously goes up, so there's various benefits behind why one should compost. You're improving the soil conditions of the planet and the location where we walk, where we attain our food locally. Taking New York's soil and improving it, so that we can grow healthier food, so that we can stabilize trees and grow more trees and more plants, so that you can, easily improve your house plants and their quality of living, whatever the case may be. We give away the material, the finished compost, be it unsifted or sifted, free of charge to the community. So we get it from multiple sources and we give it back to multiple sources. So this is beautiful work. We're here in Red Hook, Brooklyn. We take volunteers all year round, specifically Fridays and Saturdays. And if you're interested and you're watching this video, you're seeing it online on some platform, and through that platform, you know how to contact me. So feel free to reach out and inquire and learn more. So, it's just various things. I'll share more when I see you in person and you come down to the site. And I'm just thankful. I stay at a high state of gratitude. I'm able to make a living and sustain myself, learn new things, challenge myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, expand financially, and just make great connections, with people and the planet. And it's meaningful work that is bringing about a change in the world for the better. And it's us individually doing our part. You know, it's tangible work that you can see and you can feel. Um, Literally at the end of the workday, you can see that you've moved tons of material, or you've literally built a structure. You with the team member or team members have literally built a structure of some sort. Like today on site, the task was a fresh build, so it was a salad day, is what we call it, and we built this small windrow right here. It's about 1.5, 1.75 tons. This was my task. And this is going to sit for about a week. And then we're going to aerate it, also known as turning it, to add oxygen, check the moisture levels. It's a small one, but the size is good, 3 by 3 by 3. And yeah, carbon-based material, nitrogen-based material. Get the oxygen, get the moisture levels right, get the right size, and you're off to a great start. So anyway, I can go on and on. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you someday soon. And let's learn, let's grow, let's build together. Share the wealth, share the knowledge. Peace and love. AkhmostistTheCompostist.
Nice. So that was essentially my PSA. That was my PSA for composting. I threw in a bit about my journey, my story, my history as it pertains to sustainability, awareness, disaster preparedness, survivalism, being in tune with your environment, working together to take care of yourself. So self-reliance, all of that. And so that spawned and spurred and planted those seeds of self-reliance and being able to prepare, but not only prepare, give something back to nourish yourself and nourish those around you as you do the preparation. And so composting is that. It is something that we can do short term for the long term win. And taking out the methane gases out of the environment, cleaning up our neighborhoods and our homes, getting some great physical activity, working alongside others, doing something that is regenerative, sustainable, not only for the planet, but for our lived experience as humans and for our spirit. And so it all is connected, so we did that, and I'm showing you the site, and I'm sharing with you why composting is important, and simple processes that we did on site and the benefits of being involved in it. So wishfully you get involved and tap into your resolve and keep things moving forward. So that has been that, and this has been this. So welcome forward. And I mentioned a week, but as we say here, a strong. And so I didn't even change the background music the entire time. What was I doing? Let's see something real quick. All right. Awesome. So that concludes this broadcast of Compost and Causations. Once again, I am Akhmostist the Compostist. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, happy Black Future Month once again. And I'm going to be doing a broadcast coming up that is a bit different. And in order for us to properly heal and move forward as a human race, as a planet, we need to get dirty and muddy and compost some ways of being. And that's going to be done. So, plain and simple. Plain and simple. So, with that being said, you all be good. And until next time, peace.